Why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'd like to introduce Chris McCormack. It seems like a lot of you, or a few of you, already know. He's a local guy, but he's broadcasting from Colombia, South America right now. And he's an intrepid traveler, backpacker. But tonight, he's going to talk about the U.S. national parks, which hopefully we can all get back to traveling soon and see this beautiful country. So, if you wouldn't mind muting yourselves while Chris is talking so we don't get background noise, that would be ideal. And depending on how Chris wants to run it, if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand or take yourself off mute, and we can keep it pretty casual. But it's nice to see so many of you.
Yeah, I agree. Heather, thank you very much for having me. I'd also like to thank Eileen Lefkowitz. She's the director at the Dental Library. Very nice lady, just like you are, Heather.
Thank you.
For the first time in the virtual world. Yeah, so like Heather said, if anyone has any questions or anything, feel free to unmute yourself and ask me if you have a comment or you want to share a story. If it's relevant or not, that's totally fine. I mean, I'd like to keep it a travel story, that'd be okay. So, if we're talking about how to, I don't know, set up a tent, and you want to talk about maybe your experience the first time you set up a tent, if it was in South Africa or Antarctica or wherever it was, doesn't matter. Please feel free to share. I'd like this to be a discussion. It doesn't have to be, me talking the whole time. Although I'm happy to do that as well. Also, if you don't feel comfortable enough to ask the question, you can just write it in the chat. I'll see it down here in the right-hand corner. So before we start, let me just share my screen. This is interesting. Okay, so okay, Heather, can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, thank you. So good evening, everybody. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Before we start, I just want to find this. 1 second, sorry about that. Okay, I was looking for the chat just in case anybody has any questions. And now we can officially begin the travel talk. So hello, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. I really, really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to be here. Missing Jeopardy right now. That's a big sacrifice because I love Jeopardy, even though I'm not able to right now. So today we're going to be talking about how to visit the U.S. national parks, something that it took a while for me to get to. I had seen probably 15 countries around the world before I got to my first travel talk. First national park, go figure. And I'll tell you what, the first time I ever went to a national park, I was so taken back. I was so in awe of the fact that, wow, I can't believe this is in the United States of America. Being from the East Coast, the tri-state area, and going out west and seeing these conglomerates of mountains and these titans of landscapes and just such different sorts of environments and ecosystems. It really rocked my world. Now, before we really dive into the national parks, like Heather was saying, some people here know me, some people here don't know me. My name is Chris McCormack. I am from Rockaway, New Jersey. I used to work at the Hibernia Diner. Right now, I'm working at Livingston Camera, which is in Livingston. So if you've never been there before, the owners there are such nice people. They've actually been in business since 1954, which is incredible. Um, so who is Chris McCormack? I am a humanitarian. I love to help people. I love to share my knowledge, my experiences any way I can with any person on this planet. My first time I went to Cuba, I was so taken back by seeing how important of a sport baseball was there. So I was actually able to start a baseball foundation where we got so many physical donations of baseballs, helmets, bats, cleats, that we were able to bring 6 check bags of baseball equipment, bring it over to Cuba, somehow get it through customs, and I was able to hand it out to people all over the country. It was the most rewarding, the coolest experience I've ever had in my entire life. Because not only was I able to give these people brand new baseball equipment, but I was also able to play with them, which was so cool because I still play baseball today. So just a really rewarding experience, and I've actually have kind of reshaped the Cuba Baseball Foundation to the Everyone Plays Baseball Foundation, because there's kids in New Jersey, or there's kids in America, there's kids in the Dominican Republic or anywhere who want to and should have baseball equipment. So next, I'm a traveler. I started traveling in 2014 when I went to Australia for the first time, and it was, that just changed my world forever. The best way I can describe to you how the best way I can relate that experience to you of traveling was, I know how Michael Jordan felt when he picked up a basketball. I just fell in love with it, and I decided right then and there in that moment, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. I got to figure out a way. I got to find a way to make this happen for myself. And then along the way, I've always been a photographer, but after going to these places and seeing so many different landscapes and being able to document that and capture that and then share those photos and pictures with people has been a really cool experience. I'm a speaker, so that's why I'm here today, talking to you about specifically today the U.S. national parks. And my favorite title of all is that I'm an uncle to 2 nephews and a niece. Their names are Declan, Carter, and Tegan. These kids they are so funny. They are hilarious. I miss them so much. But wow, just being called Uncle Chris is the best title of all. So like I said, I work at Livingston Camera. If you ever have any film that you developed or prints that you want to get made, or maybe you have VHS tapes you want to get converted to DVD or whatever, put it all there. They're such nice people. And this is my website right here. This is the logo for Chris McCormack. So my website is called thechrismccormack.net. When you got a chance, please check it out. And I'll actually, I'll add it in the chat later. This way people can just go to it from there. So what is anything today without talking about the COVID-19 requirements for national? So of course, and foremost, being sick really shouldn't go anywhere, let alone a national park, because I'm sure you won't even be able to really do much because you're just tired. You don't need a negative test to go. Of course, social distance when you can. It's difficult because I've actually been on hikes where I'm waiting online. I'm actually waiting on a line on a hike. So it can be difficult at times to social distance. National park since the pandemic, but thinking about going to one, I would definitely advise going to the National Park Service.gov website and looking up specifically the national park that you want to go to, see if they have, and maybe any specific requirements for that state and such like that. Now, when you're indoor, going into some of the museums or any other buildings there that they have to offer, you have to wear a mask inside. Outdoors, mask is required if you cannot maintain a social distance. So again, it's actually really strange. You're thinking like you want to go for a hike, you want to be away from people, and then next thing you know, you're on a hike and you're waiting on a line for sometimes 20 minutes. You're not moving for 20 minutes, and it's pretty crazy. I actually had that in Acadia National Park in Maine, which used to be the closest national park to New Jersey, but they actually just opened up they just declared a new national park in West Virginia called New River Gorge. Now, I'm not too sure, if we're talking about maybe it might be an hour more, an hour less. I'm not really sure how far away it is from Jersey, but like I said, there is a new national park in West Virginia. Wash your hands. You should be doing that anyway, all the time. No one likes dirty hands. And like I said, if you're feeling sick, definitely, don't go anywhere and be smart about that. So not only today are we going to be talking about national parks, but we're also going to be talking about national forests. And 1 second, sorry. So yeah, national forests. Never really heard of them, or I guess I should say I never visited one until I lived in Arizona for about 4 or 5 months. I lived in Arizona in 2019. I moved to Tempe, Arizona, which is about 15 minutes outside of Phoenix, if anyone's familiar with that state. And that's one thing about the West that is obviously is head and shoulders above the East Coast, is that there is so much land out there. It is sick. And there is so much to be discovered out there, national parks and national forests included. Now, what's cool about national forests is that I believe that most of them you don't need to pay to go visit them for the day or for anything like that. We're going to get into the national park fees, excuse me, in a little bit, but don't forget about the National Forests of America, because it's sneaky beautiful. You'll find some really, really awesome landscapes. And a lot of those lands are managed by Bureau of Land Management. So this photo right here that you're seeing was taken from Sitgreaves National Forest in Payson, Arizona. This campsite, what you're looking at right now, that was my campsite. And that was free camping. I camped there for about a week for free. No questions asked. And I wasn't the only camping site there. There was probably about, I don't know, in total for that area, probably 200 camping sites. But this particular road was a little bit more difficult to get to. So I think there was about maybe 20 or 30. I honestly, I don't know how I got this spot, because I was so lucky. I showed up on like a Thursday afternoon. And if you think about that, I mean, people leave from Phoenix to go to these types of places, Thursday to Sunday kind of deal. So the fact that I even got this was amazing. And yeah, national forests are really incredible. This is actually what's really cool about this place specifically. This is called the Mogollon Rim. And the Mogollon Rim stretches for like 500 miles long, if you can even think about that. This right here is part of the Mogollon Rim. And this particular location, a lot of people from Phoenix will drive here to escape from the heat. So for example, one day in the summertime, I left Phoenix. It was 116 degrees in Phoenix. And when I got to this campsite at nighttime, it got to 41 degrees. That is a massive difference of temperature. And I couldn't believe that I was, the first time I'm in Arizona, I'm like, wow, it's going to be hot, desert. I was really, really, really mistaken there. So Phoenix is probably like, in the middle, not really in the middle. However, you drive 2 hours north of Phoenix, it's going to be pine trees, timber, cold, snow. Like this area right here, you can't even get to this in the wintertime because there's just 5 feet of snow up there. So it actually closes half the year. And then 2 hours south of Phoenix is just, desert, barren wasteland, cacti and Gila lizards and stuff like that. It's just, Arizona is a really cool state. I would highly recommend every person in the world to check it out. And then we're also, going to be talking about national parks. Such a great idea that was, started by Teddy Roosevelt. Shout out to Teddy Roosevelt for preserving our lands and, being able to hand down these responsibilities of nature from generation to generation so that we can share it with our kids. This is actually the entrance of the Grand Teton National Park. And for me, I don't know, something about mountains that just get me every single time. They're so beautiful. I actually stayed another campsite in this national park, or I should say, it's a little bit outside the national park. Um, it was free, and I just had epic views of these mountains. It was really cool. So I'm going to tell you all about that, the websites that you got to use, the apps that you got to use, and so what's the difference between a national park and a national forest? So a national park is about preserving the land, no hunting, no fishing, no logging, no grazing. Of course, we're trying to take care of these lands. Whereas the national forests in America are specifically not specifically, however, they have more uses than just recreation for national parks. So some national forests will have you can go hunting there. There's logging. They have animal stock grazing there. You can go fishing. Little fun fact for you, which I think really puts into perspective how massive this country is. The national parks have about 85 million acres of land in America. National forests, almost 200 million acres. So about almost 3 times the size of the national parks are in our national forests. And of the 85 million acres of national park land, 55 of those are made up in Alaska, which I have not been there yet. Really looking forward to going to Alaska. But I mean, what a massive country. There's so much to see here. It's really awesome. So unfortunately for national parks, unfortunately, but fortunately, a necessary evil, we have entrance fees. And some of them are higher than others. Some national parks don't have any entrance fees. When we start talking about the numbers out there in the Zion National Park, it's $35. That's good for about 7 days. And although it can seem not that much, however, when you're doing a road trip, and in Utah, there's about 4 or 5 different, maybe four national parks within the area that you could hit within a 3-week trip. These entrance fees start to add up very quickly. Grand Teton National Park, $35. So what we're seeing here is, the monsters out there of the West are going to be the most expensive because that's where the most people are going. These are the Titans. These are the ones that everybody goes to. Smoky Mountains, unvisited national park year after year after year. $35 entrance fee. And there's ways to beat it. I'm going to talk to you about right now. North Rim, Grand Canyon, $35. If anyone has never been to the Grand Canyon yet, do yourself a favor, get out there immediately. The first time I drove to the North Rim of the Grand Canyon and I got to the parking lot, I left all camera equipment, phones, I left everything electronic in the car, and I walked to the rim, the edge, and wow, my mouth just dropped. Honestly, the pictures don't even do it justice. It's actually kind of disrespectful to even try and show a picture of the Grand Canyon because it really, you don't get that feeling of that depth in your stomach when you're actually there. So I would definitely, number one, suggest to get out there, whether it's the North Rim or the South Rim of the Grand Canyon. Really, really cool areas. And then when you get there, just do not take any photos or don't even have your phone on you for the first time you see this monstrosity of a landscape, which I can't even believe there used to be water in this thing. The Colorado River used to be raging in this. It's wow. So it was probably even more green way back when, before we put a dam and stopped the water from going through it. Anyway, Glacier National Park, by far, this is my favorite national park in the whole in America, or at least to this point in my life right now. There's some epic things to do there, and some hikes aren't that bad at all. They're really, really not. That this particular hike, the name of it is actually escaping me right now, and I apologize for that. I'm going to find that out. I'll send Heather the information and she can email it to you, or vice versa. I'll get your information. Sorry about that. This was a very easy hike though. I'm sure everybody could do this one. It was not as difficult as a 4-day trek in the Sierra Nevada mountains here in Colombia. You could definitely do it. I think it took me like 30 minutes to get there. So how do we beat the entrance passes? Well, you buy a America the Beautiful pass, and there's so many different types of passes that you can apply for or buy. First one, the annual pass. So what's cool about this is that it's $80. It lasts for one whole year. So let's say you buy it in June of 2021. It's good until June of 2022. $80, unlimited access to all national parks, anytime, doesn't matter. And if you ask me, $80 investment for a year to go see any national park, without a doubt, worth buying. Because like we just saw the entrance fees, $35 an entrance fee, that's going to add up very quickly. Now, another cool thing about the annual passes, you are not the only sole owner of the America the Beautiful pass. So on the back, there's 2 slots for names. So let's say, for example, my cousin and I, we split the annual pass, $40 each, and both of our names are on the back of the card, and we're able to use that on our own separate trips whenever we go, or if we're going together. So instead of it actually being an $80 investment, it's only a $40 investment for the annual pass. So $40 to go see some of the most beautiful terrains that our country has to offer. It's a no-brainer. There's the military pass. So if you are a active member in the military, it's free. You don't have to pay. You get right in. And these are only good for one car. They're not good for like you can't bring 5 cars, a whole caravan with you. That's not gonna fly with them. I mean, you could try. It's worth a shot, but I don't think it's gonna happen for you. And then they have the 4th grade pass. So if you're in 4th grade, or you know someone who's in 4th grade, they can apply to get a America the Beautiful pass, and it's free. You get unlimited access for a year, and it's a pretty sweet deal if you're a family and you don't want to pay for the pass, and you got a 4th grader, sign them up, and you'll get the pass for free. I was wondering why they use why a 4th grade? How come not 6th grade or 5th grade or 3rd grade? And apparently, according to a national park ranger who I asked about this, they said that 4th grade is really that tipping point where they're not really babies. They're obviously still boys. However, they are more adventurous. They want that responsibility. They want that excitement. They want to learn about nature, and they want to go for hikes and stuff like that. So they just said, hey, we're going to make a 4th grade. Then they have the senior pass. So there's 2 different types of senior passes. There's an annual pass and then a lifetime pass. So I believe it's 65 or older. You can purchase a annual pass or a lifetime pass. So we'll do the annual one first. Let's say that you've never been to a national park. You don't really know if you're going to like it. So you rather just buy the annual. The annual costs $20 for 1 year. However, let's say you are an avid hiker, you love national parks, you love being outdoors, maybe you got an RV and you want to just drive everywhere. The lifetime senior pass is $80, and you pay for it one time and you got it forever. You're done. You can go to any national park forever for the rest of your life, and it's only for $80. That's a pretty good deal. And then they have the access pass, which is for people who are permanently handicapped, or they have some sort of mental disability. Apply for it, and then you get the handicap pass. And then they have the volunteer card, which is for people who have volunteered 250 hours of their time to a organization that's approved by the National Park Service. So maybe you know your granddaughter or your cousin or your nephew or somebody, they're a volunteer, they're volunteering a lot. Maybe you can tell them about this and they can, maybe get a volunteer access pass, a Volunteer America the Beautiful pass. So like I said, $35 for some of these entrance fees. If you're on a road trip, you go to 3 national parks on one road trip, it's $105 and that's it. It's done. You don't get more access to anything else unless you pay for it again. Whereas, if you purchase one of these cards or maybe you're a volunteer, like I said, you can get these cards and you're good for a year. Or if you're 65 or older and you want to get a lifetime pass, then you're set for life. It's pretty awesome. So with these passes, you can come and see these unbelievable landscapes that just really take your breath away. This is in Glacier National Park, and I notice over here, this was in the middle of July, almost August. They still had snow here. That is crazy. This was probably one of the hardest hikes I've ever done in my life. It was a 17-mile hike, and the only reason why it was so hard is because I went the wrong way. Not meaning, I didn't get lost. However, for this specific trail, it's called the Highline Trail in Glacier National Park. And you're supposed to start at the visitor and then work your way down because it's mostly downhill for the 17 miles. However, I didn't know that. I started at the reverse point and I walked basically uphill for 17 miles the whole day. It was excruciating. It was actually brutal. And I actually got back to the visitor center so late that I missed the shuttle services. And I actually had to hitchhike back to my campground because these national parks, they are monsters. So they have shuttle buses, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But, you don't just finish your hike and then you just, walk to your campsite after that. Whew. I still remember getting out of the car and my legs were like stiff still because it was just, anyway. This is I love this photo so much. This is from Acadia National Park on top of Cadillac Mountain, watching the sunset. Honestly, the drive up to Acadia, it can seem intimidating. It's about 9 hours. It really wasn't that bad though. Maybe because I left at like 2 o'clock in the morning and I basically blew through everything. So, yeah, like I said before, Acadia might not be the closest national park to us anymore. It might be the one in West Virginia, New River Gorge. They just deemed it a national park at the end of 2020. So looking forward to getting there. And Marriott Smeets commented in the chat, senior pass is 62 and older. Okay, thank you very much, Marriott. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So yeah, if you're 62 or older, my dad's going to be 62 almost. He can get the lifetime or annual pass for $20 or $80 respectively, and then you're good. I love this picture right here. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's naturally made. I mean, maybe somebody carved that in there. I would hope not. Maybe. I really don't know. But this was taken in Saguaro National Park in Arizona. And there are just, when I say millions of cacti down there, they're just, it's crazy how much there are down there. Really cool though. I think cacti, they are some really cool plants. And then this is from Zion National Park. I mean, just being in these places, you really feel so, I don't want to say insignificant, but you really feel where you place in this world, in this universe, in this galaxy. Like, wow, we are really so small compared to what's going on in the grand scheme of this thing. This was from a hike called Angel's Landing. And that hike is not for the faint-hearted. That is a tough hike. They have switchbacks, steep hills. There's actually a part where you have to hold on to a chain. Otherwise, there's like a 5,000-foot drop or a 3,000-foot drop. It is, you basically walk up here, and only thing that there's no railing, there's no guards, or it's really survival of the fittest up there at that point. I saw a lot of people, somehow they didn't know about that part of the hike, but they were around immediately once they saw that the chain was really the only thing helping them out. So one cool thing about our national parks that our entrance fees go are able to supply the shuttle buses, because sometimes, most of the time, we don't want to drive during these places. If we want to we would be able to look out the window, maybe watch someone kayaking in the lake as we drive by. And also, people don't know how to drive, so you get worked up. You don't want to get worked up when you're at a national park because of someone else's, they don't know how to drive. So that's one of the pros of having the shuttle buses. A con of the shuttle bus is that the lines are very, very, very long. So if you don't get to these lines first thing in the morning, I'm talking 8, 9 a.m., there's a chance you could be waiting online for an hour and a half, 2 hours, like you're at Six Flags, except there's no flags, and you have to sit there and wait for your turn. And it can be frustrating. But some national parks have their stuff together to these shuttle buses. Like Zion National Park, you would think you're in like New York City. They have like a metro, like they have a app, bus lines that are going every 20 minutes. So I definitely think that Glacier National Park can take a couple of notes on how to run a. See, this is a shuttle bus line right here. People in the pouring rain, 30-mile-per-hour winds in Glacier National Park. Not fun, but again, you don't want to be driving or getting upset and aggravated waiting online. I don't know about you guys, but when I started traveling, this is something that I didn't do. I did not plan ahead. I would not know anything about where I'm traveling, except that I know that in the Philippines they have ports, and I'm gonna fly there. Now there's pros and cons to that, of course, but I think when you're talking about a national park trip, you absolutely have to plan this out. There's no way around you. So right now is my route from where I was living in Arizona, and when I drove home back to Rockaway, New Jersey. So instead of being the conventional way and going across the states just east from the jump, I took a cut and drove all the way home after that. It was amazing. I have a 2003 Toyota Camry. Shout out to Toyota. It's the best car. I loved it. I'm going to have a Toyota for the rest of my life, without a doubt. One really cool thing, quick tangent. I was getting, you're going to love this. I was on my road trip home, I was getting 45 miles per gallon. And that is something that makes me so happy. Miles per gallon, that really makes me sleep better at night. I promise you that. So when you're planning your trip, try and think of the mentality of quality over quantity. And it's so hard to keep this in mind when we're traveling, especially because, we have 10 days or we have 2 weeks. Let's try and get everything in as much as possible. Let's try and see, 7 national parks in 10 days. And, I commend people who do that. However, and this is just my personal view, or just things that I have learned along the way, I'd rather have the quality time of really learning about a national park instead of trying to, or being able to say, oh, well, I went to Joshua Tree National Park, then I went to Bryce, and then I went to Ann, and then I went to Glacier, and then we drove all the way to New Mexico. It's just too much, and then you find yourself rushing. You're not enjoying the time. You're not enjoying yourself because you feel like you're in a rush. You can't really keep yourself in that moment because, oh, we have to get back to the car. We gotta keep going. So I always urge people to try and, remember it's about quality over quantity, especially when we travel. So at this point, does anyone have any questions, comments, or anything like that they'd like to ask? If you do, please feel free. If not, we will carry on with ourselves. This picture is from Glacier National Park. I mean, that's from I believe it was called McDonald Lake, and they offer paddle boarding, as you can see, kayaking. If you want to bring your boat out there, you can bring your boat. Another cool trick that I learned on my way from Arizona to New Jersey via Montana was that our country has scenic byways. I never knew this before. And I didn't learn about this until I got a book from the local Salvation Army store in Phoenix or Tempe, Arizona. And it was a National Geographic Scenic Byway book that was from, I think, maybe 1988. And, who would have thought the roads are still there from 1988? Not as well maintained, but they were there. And this is one of the byways that I took instead of taking, a huge interstate. Instead of going on Route 80, you take, it's not a Route 19 kind of deal. I would never, ever recommend anyone take Route 19 in New Jersey ever in their life. But yeah, so there's just like byways are these roads that go pretty far. Like I'm talking really far. And some of them don't really have lights, especially the further west you go out. There's less street lights, less traffic lights, which is really nice. Oh, we got a comment here from Ruth Gimbel. Hey, Ruth, thank you for being here. Really appreciate your time. Ruth says, we have traveled in Arizona, gorgeous state. Also the states of Utah and Colorado, wonderful national parks. Ruth, yes, I totally agree with you. I have not had the chance to explore Colorado thoroughly enough. My friend actually got married in Fort Collins. Actually, it's going to be 2 years. Wow, that's crazy. 2 years ago. So I was in Fort Collins for a little bit. That was a cool town. Actually, a little fun fact. A lot of tangents with me. The main street of Fort Collins is actually what Walt Disney replicated. That's what he wanted the entrance of Disney World to look like. So if you've ever been there, that's what Fort Collins downtown Main Street looks like. What? Okay, so we have a message here from someone. I don't know who it is, but it's iPhone 94938. Thank you for being here. Their question here is best to travel out west. Well, that's really tricky. iPhone 438. It depends on your, I would say, your fitness level. Do you like the heat? Because if you go out in the summer, it's gonna be excruciating, painfully hot. You're gonna sweat a lot. And unfortunately, with the summertime, people. Oh, it's Mrs. Healy. Hey, Mrs. Healy. So, Mrs. Healy, thank you for your question. So yeah, west, like Utah, Arizona, Colorado. You go in the summertime, it's going to be very, very hot for sure. Now, the more north you go, Wyoming, Montana, just because of, strictly for their geographical location, it won't be as hot, and also because of their elevation. So you should be good there. Oh, Miss Healy says Montana in August. That's actually perfect timing because I believe that should be, so Montana gets so much snow every year that they actually close Glacier pretty early. I think around like October-ish. So August would be a good time to go. I was there in July. It seemed to be pretty decent. It wasn't too bad. The nights were pretty cold. No, they weren't that bad. They weren't that bad. I was in a tent. I don't know if it'll be in a tent, but Heather from Denville Library commented, May seems to be a good time in her experience. True. May is probably a nice time. The only thing with May is depending on where you go, these places might still have snow from the wintertime. Like I know Glacier gets a lot of snow every year. So, and it takes a while for them to clear it out because I think they actually wait. They don't keep up with it, I think, throughout the year. So great comments, great questions. I love it. I love it. Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it. Let's continue. So the resources that are very, very important for your trip to national parks or road trip, national forests, wherever you want to go. I use an app called Gas Buddy. Now I don't use this when I'm back in Rockaway and I'm working because I know where all the good gas stations are. Shout out to the Gulf in the borough. Always got the best prices. Costco as well. They let everyone go there. That's great. But when you're in places that you've never been before, you don't know what is a good price in that area. You don't know, am I paying too much? And an example of this is I had a friend who lived in, what's the name of it? She lived on the Lake Tahoe side of Nevada. She lived on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe in a place called Truckee. And she told me that gas was significantly cheaper in Nevada versus California, that people from California would actually drive 45 minutes, an hour and a half to Nevada to get gas and stock up there. So, let's say you're on a road trip, you're in California and you're driving east and you're running low on gas and you don't know if you're going to make it. But, on your Gas Buddy app, you're saying that the Gas Buddy app is saying 5 more miles to Nevada and gas will be $1.88 per gallon instead of $3.88 per gallon. That's good information to know because you never want to pay for a gas station and then 10 minutes down the road, it's significantly cheaper. I see a comment here from Gail. Hey, Gail, thanks for being here. Gail says Beartooth Scenic Highway in Montana. That name alone, Beartooth, should sell everybody in this presentation right now to go and drive on that scenic highway. So Gail, thank you for that one. Next time I'm in Montana, I'm definitely gonna check that one out. And then next we have Campendium, which is probably one of the best travel websites you could ever use for camping or boondocking, or if you have an RV, if you have a trailer. I mean, there are some people out there who have some, castles on the back of their trucks that are being pulled. It's incredible. But so what's cool about Campendium, it's a website and it's also an app, campendium.com. You type in a location. So for example, we're going to use Albuquerque, New Mexico. And this is what I did when I was road tripping home. When I would drive until I was tired, and then I'd hop on this website, I'd hop on this app, I would type in the location that I was in, and it would show me all of the free camping in that area. Not only free camping, but they had RV parks, they had campgrounds where, if you wanted to pay for them, you could. So, me, I'm a backpacker by trade. So I'm trying to get everything as cheap as possible so I can make, stretch the money a little bit. And I would stay at some of the coolest places that I never would have even known existed until, unless it wasn't for this website, campendium.com. So definitely check that out if you get a chance. It's a really cool website. And I also believe there's another website. It's called freecamping.com. Pretty self-explanatory. Same thing that Campendium does there. So, check all your bases and you utilize all these resources if you can to the best of your, to try and make your trip the best as possible. Next, we have probably one of the toughest websites and most frustrating websites you'll ever use in your life, recreation.gov. This is the website where you can, excuse me, this is the website where you can apply for campgrounds inside the national parks. However, it's virtually impossible to even get a campground in there if you wanted to. It's so difficult. I mean, these places sell out in a matter of really seconds. In a matter of seconds when that window opens up for people to book it. So it's on top of that, it's not a user-friendly website at all. It's very frustrating. It's really difficult. So, but in case you wanted to try and camp or RV inside a national park, this is the website that you would use it through. Now, also keep in mind that some national parks, they actually don't even allow you to book ahead for camping. It's a first come, first served basis. So if you're feeling really lucky and you're feeling really dangerous, you can just rock up to a national park, Chris McCormack style, and try and see if they have any open space, which is always a fun time. And then last is, anytime I talk about traveling, I always got to say this app, whether it's relatable to what I'm talking to or not. It's called Skyscanner. It's an app and it's also a website. You will find the absolute best flights you will ever find in your life on this app. Basically what it is it's like a kayak.com, except it uses every single kayak.com in the world to find you a price for your flight. So the running joke with my grandpa used to be, because I get flights so cheap that he used to say, well, so you got a flight to Cuba for $50. Does that even have wings on this thing? Does it have an engine? How's that even possible? And I was just telling Pop, I have no idea how it's possible, but I got a flight to Cuba for $50, so I'll take it. Another really cool feature with this website / app is that you can type in from. So for us, it would be Newark Airport. From Newark Airport, and then your destination, and you can put everywhere, and literally everywhere in the world, it will show you flights for those specific dates. I would be lying if I said that I didn't look at this app 4 times a day. I look at this website every single day because it just, sometimes you just see flights and you're like, oh my gosh, how is that even possible? It's so cheap. So for example, my flight to Colombia for this trip 6 weeks ago, I got my flight. It was a one-way with a 2-hour stopover in Fort Lauderdale. I got my flight for $80 with United Airline. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty reputable airline as well. Now, I would never, ever, 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 ever advise you to fly Spirit Airline ever in your whole life. I'd avoid Spirit as much as you can because they're going to get you for every single thing on that airline. And it's really frustrating. For me, with a United or let's say American Airline or even JetBlue, I want to pay for my flight. Even if it's a little bit more, okay. If it's $100 for the flight, I will pay for it because, okay, that's it. I'm done. I pay for the flight. That's it. With Spirit, it doesn't work that way. You got to pay to, put your seatbelt on. You got to pay to walk onto the plane. If you don't print out your boarding pass, it costs $10 and, your bag doesn't fit, of course. So that's $40 at the gate that you got to pay for. It's just frustrating. And it really actually takes a very special airline to get voted the worst airline in the world 3 years in a row. That does not happen by accident, I don't think. Okay, so Arla just Arla said, what website is this? So I was talking about Skyscanner, and that was the website, but the airline that I was talking about, Spirit. So just avoid Spirit. Gail has a nice comment to say about Spirit. Spirit has like cardboard seats. Yep. And if you want to have, a back to your seat, it's actually $20. they get you for everything on that one. So yeah, definitely, I would totally recommend check Campendium for your next camping adventure that you go on. I mean, it's really have people who are, let's say there's a campground that you wanted to go to, and the people leave reviews, they have pictures. How accessible is it? Can you get there without a 4x4? Can I bring my ginormous trailer into this place, or is it too difficult? Leave a review on cell phone service and things like that. So it's a really cool, really great and helpful for us. So some of the equipment that you're going to need if you're going to be camping is, I would say you're going to need a stove. You're going to need some pots and pans. This was my kitchen window right here in the Mogollon Rim in Arizona. It's my vegetables, beans, and eggs that I ate every day for 2 months. Or no, it was about a 6-week trip home. Yeah, I was eating beans, vegetables, and water. That was my diet because that was the oh, you can see it right here. Got my black beans right there. Wow. Oh, great. Good memories. So you got to get this equipment. Obviously, if you want to camp. Now, I don't know if some of you are going to be, bringing your RVs or anything like that, or maybe you're going to be using a company that's going to have all the rental equipment and stuff like that. So I would definitely recommend bringing some of this for yourself. This is me cooking with a cast iron skillet right here of those things. Unfortunately, I didn't know that you couldn't use soap when you washed it. So it was the time done deal after I washed it with soap. So that was a rookie mistake right there, but pretty sweet. It's nice to have your own equipment because, especially for me, I'm on a budget. I'm going to be trying to do this as financially sound as possible. So I don't really luxury of being able to go to a restaurant, when I feel like it, or because it's just too expensive. So this is me actually cooking lunch for myself in a parking lot in Montana Visitor Center. I actually almost made $10. The guy, I almost sold a bowl of veggies and beans to a guy, but he walked away at the last second. So where can you find some of this equipment that you'll need? Let Go and OfferUp are fantastic websites / apps that you can use really for anything. Actually, Let Go and OfferUp, they actually joined forces and combined. So now they're one company right now. And so that's, I mean, Salvation Army is a good one too. You can find a lot of cheap stuff there. It really just depends on how serious you are about your camping. If you want to invest in some good quality equipment, because you're going to be doing this a lot more times, then yeah, I would definitely say, don't go the secondhand way. But, maybe you're just doing it 1 time or 2 times. You don't even really know if you like camping or not. That's totally fine. No big deal. A lot of my equipment that I got was from garage sales, Salvation Army, Goodwill. My stove that I got, actually, this stove right here, Coleman dual stove, I got it for $10 off this guy secondhand sale back in Arizona. I mean, the aesthetics were pretty bad. It was really rusty. However, it lasted about 5 weeks, 5 of the 6 weeks in the trip, and then I think I had like a gas leak because like a fireball would come out of the one of the knobs. So eventually I couldn't use the left skillet anymore. So we were running low. Materials and equipment was getting depleted out there, but we were able to find a way. So thrift stores, Dollar Trees, a lot of my utensils that I got were from Dollar Trees, and not great stuff, but still, things that are what's it called? Things that work. And anyone have any questions or anything? Anybody have, what are some of, maybe if you feel comfortable enough sharing, are you going to be, in the past, have you rented equipment, or do you bring your own equipment, or you just have, you can just kind of eat at the hotel every night and, cheers. And that's great. Don't get me wrong. That's awesome. Good for you guys. That's great. All right. So let's see. I think we're coming up on the end here. So why should we go to our national parks in America? Why should we take the time to, leave Little New Jersey or wherever you're from right now? It's because, there is such a big country out there in America. You don't really know how big this country is until you drive the whole thing. And it's really special to see that we have these, epic landscapes, different world-like terrain, and it's really impressive. Unfortunately, this nature can be depleted and destroyed. So we can't wait to go see these things. So right here, this is a picture. Most people would think that this is a picture of a forest fire, or this is, something that humans did. This is not a human catastrophe here. Actually, this is damage that was done to the forest by a beetle. So it was a beetle that ate all of the trees in this picture. Now, I didn't take this picture. This is from Google, but it's just important to get out there because you can't wait. You don't know what's going to happen, especially with the forest fires and everything like that. So next is, like I've been kind of saying and touching on this whole time, is that this is our home. This is where we're from. It's really being able to say, like, we have Smoky Mountains National Park. America has Denali National Park. We have Glacier. We have the Everglades National Park. I mean, that is something that makes me proud to say that I'm American. And I never really appreciated that until I went and seen these beautiful, beautiful land, especially because I was traveling so much internationally that, even internationally, I always say, like, wow, this is amazing. I love what I'm seeing, but something about that, it's not mine, whether if I was in Asia, or if I was in Africa, or I was in Europe, like, this isn't mine. This is not where I'm from. So seeing these national parks and national forests really makes me proud to say that I'm American. We reconnect. We hand it down to generations of our grandkids or our nieces or our sons and daughters, and we show them that, hey, this is where we're from. This is what this is what we do, and this is something that's been like this forever, and we hope to maintain it and keep it like this forever. And yeah, like I said, the building blocks. It's really important to show our loved ones who maybe never left New Jersey, or they're not campers, or maybe never even gone past the Mississippi River. So it's cool to see these things. So today we talked about how we can find the best prices, where we can go camping, how to find the cheapest equipment possible, or different landscapes that we can go see, the different America the Beautiful park passes that are offered by the National Park Service. I'd like to thank Eileen Lefkowitz, the director of the Denville Library, for having me. And also I'd like to thank Heather for moderating this for us today. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask me now, later. You can email me, whatever. It's no problem.
Thank you so much, Chris.
I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
This was really inspiring. I think we all have the travel bug now and are just dreaming of these beautiful places.
Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
Love the
No problem.
presentation.
So what, we're on?
Yeah, we're on.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Jeff Biggs. Hey, we've done a lot of national parks. They're great. You've had a good presentation. Been to
I
Bryce,
appreciate that.
the Zion, Mesa Verde, Black Canyon, Colorado, Rocky Mountain, up in
Nice.
Canada, we did some of that. It's just, when you look out, like you said, the Grand Canyon, it's hard to even say, take a picture. It's so, I mean, it's just not the same being there. And I would
Disrespectful, absolutely.
recommend to everybody to just go out and see it. You know, it's just great. Thanks for your
Absolutely. And
Absolutely. It's a big, beautiful country with so many varied landscapes and interesting people to meet along the way. And just, I never, I was most impressed. Like, we drove across the country, and that was my first, because we were moving to Montana. So before we did it, we drove out and just stopped along the way at as many national parks as we could hit. And it, you just don't appreciate this huge, beautiful country that we have until you can actually see it up close and
Yep.
personal. Flying over
great.
is
Or you're
not,
driving through it.
yeah,
Yeah,
flying
you got to
over is
drive
not
through
the
it
same.
for 20 hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I honestly, I had a great time today. Thank you guys so much. It was really,
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris,
Really,
and
really-
and good luck to you in Colombia and the rest of your adventure down there. Stay
Thank you.
safe.
This was a nice, thank you. This was a nice shot in the arm for me. I really feel very invigorated because, you know, just backpacking for 6 weeks, it's a real grind. It can really beat you down. So this was a nice pick me up. So I really appreciate it, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay.
you. Great seeing you again, Chris.
Hey, Chris,
Absolutely. You guys, yes.
this is Gail. Where's this shot? This
This
picture.
is actually in Colombia. This is in Colombia,
Oh,
actually.
wow.
I just wanted to show a picture of myself taking a photo of a picture.
It looks like the Badlands in South Dakota a little.
Yes, it does. This is actually in this is called Tatacoa Desert. This place was crazy. It was so difficult to get to. I mean, there's no electricity in the whole town. There's no stores because there's no electricity. So you're basically on an island. It was really cool. It was very hot.
Mm.
It was
quick,
very
funny camping story. We camped out in Coachella in California, and my son and we had stopped at Whole Foods on the way on the drive out there. We loaded up with all kinds of great stuff. We were cooking
nice.
brats with pineapple, and people,
Oh.
what's that? What do you guys got over there? What do you guys got over there? They were just tremendous. Like camping out and eating out.
Oh man, it's the best. I love like you said, camping out, eating out. It's great. It really is. I don't like the cleaning up part though. That's not fun.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we appreciate you, Chris. Be safe, and
Thank you. Yes.
maybe you can come back and give us a talk on Colombia when you're done.
Yeah, right.
I would absolutely love that. I'll definitely talk to Eileen and see if we can make it happen. I would love that. Yeah, so I should be back in about 2 weeks and then start working on the Columbia presentation. And I hope to see everybody again. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free.
Yeah, we'd love to see your pictures.
Thanks, Chris. Stay
Thank
safe.
you.